Hi, I'm Tori Quisling with the Center for Clairvoyance and Psychic Development in Port Washington, Long Island, and online. And every Friday, I do my best to come online to talk to other healers that are in the middle of this crisis and what are some psychic tools we can use for helping ourselves and others in these weird times we're in, Twilight Zone times, I call it. So I've had a lot of questions about tarot cards, people very interested in oracle cards, tarot cards, and what's the difference between a clairvoyant reading and a tarot card reading. So I'm going to answer that today. I also want to announce, because people have been requesting a daytime workshop, I do Tuesday night workshops at 7 for all levels, but I have added for next Thursday another workshop at 1 o'clock. It's for all levels, and it's going to be on reading tarot cards, but for healing and intuitive reading of tarot cards. So nothing complicated. We get right to the point and you can read right away. And I even assist in reading the messages too in the cards. So it's a fun workshop. It's at 1 o'clock next Thursday Eastern Time from 1 to 3. And it's on my website, toriquisling.com, so you can register for it. And it can be part of the series if you sign up for a 5 series. So once again, I'm here to help healers and give psychic tools to healers. And you can ask questions. Please let me know if you're here and if you'd like to ask some questions for this time. And I'm talking about tarot cards and how they help. And I do readings and I teach people to do readings, clairvoyant readings, just using a reading screen. So I teach you how to tune in energetically to another person and their aura, and really teach you first how to read without any divination tools, like reading a palm or tarot cards or tea leaves or anything like that. We don't use anything to do our readings and communicate spirit to spirit, and even communicate with disembodied spirits, mediumship. So we do everything. I train to learn to read and communicate spirit to spirit, healing messages, not using any tools at all. So how do tarot cards fit into my clairvoyant development classes and as a clairvoyant? So for years, I've been using tarot cards, but for certain times. I used to live in New Orleans. I worked at the Berkeley Psychic Institute back in the 80s, 1980s, and trained as a clairvoyant to do readings, just reading the aura with my reading screen. And then I like to close my eyes and be in a light trance to do that. So I need to be in a safe room, one-on-one. It's private and nice. Hi, Tracy. So when you're outside and it's noisy and there's people around and it's not a safe place to go into a light trance, that's when tarot cards can come in handy. And so as all the psychics in the Psychic Institute, we would have our little mini cards or our cards. If we were on an airplane together, we were traveling together outside, we would use the cards. Hey, Mindy. So when I lived in New Orleans, I worked in the square. Jackson Square is one of the tarot readers. And this is in the early 90s. So there was only about 6 of us out there. Now there's hundreds in New Orleans. But there was just a few of us out there. And I worked in the shops. And so that's where I use these tarot cards, because in a place where I have to have my eyes open, I don't want to just stare at you and say what I see. I want to look down at the cards. And in the workshop next week, I'll teach you real details of how you can read the cards right away. I usually like to teach tarot to people that already have confidence reading someone without anything, because really it's not the cards that are doing the reading, it's the person. It's a spirit to spirit reading, a person to a person reading. I'll just give you some brief ideas about how the cards work and how you could use them as a healer right now. We have a lot of people in crisis and scared, and a lot of anxiety and fear and resistance, and people have questions and fears. Oracle cards work great because you can just pull an oracle card and it'll give you a nice idea, like hope or peace, different ideas from angels. Tarot is a very old divination tool, so it has old energy on it. The symbols are very deep. I find them very interesting to work with, and I keep it really simple. The key in clairvoyance is that everything is very simple. We don't complicate with a big spread. We don't memorize the cards. really, clairvoyance is being able to see in the moment, in present time, the truth. You don't need to consult a book from the past or anything like that. You're just in the moment, trusting what you see and what you know. So it's a lot of fun to be a clairvoyant, a practicing clairvoyant. Hey, Laura. Hey, Patty. So good to see everybody. Um, I'm going to just explain briefly. I like to use the Rider Waite deck, and next Thursday I have a very extensive tarot class, so you'll get handouts and you'll understand everything about them. But today I just want to give you a quick way and trick that you could use these cards, if you have a deck of cards, to help your loved ones and help some of your clients as a healer, to just help with a quick communication. Tarot cards are great when you're outside, your eyes are open, or you're at a party in assisting people, or you're just not ready to go into trance. And you have people with specific questions, and you can then address their specific questions with the cards. So the Rider Waite deck is one of the old decks. I have a bag that I ordered from Baba, which is this Baba Studio, B-A-B-A. It's in Europe, and they do all this Alice in Wonderland thing. So I keep my deck of cards inside this special tarot bag, Baba Studio. Check it out. It's amazing. Look at that picture. I have the deck of Alice cards as well. But when I teach you how to use cards, I like to start with standardized cards, just standard cards, and then you can go to the fancy decks, because some of the fancy decks don't include all the different parts to the tarot deck. Now, if you know what you're working with tarot, then you can have a fancy deck that's missing pieces or adding pieces. Then you know what's missing or what's added. So tarot, very simply, is in two parts. It's like a deck of playing cards with four suits, and we call that the minor arcana. And don't worry about all these words. Just know that the tarot is in two sections, the minor and the major. Two sections of arcana, it's called. The minor arcana is like a deck of standard playing cards with four suits. And the four different suits are the four different symbols of the suits. Instead of hearts and spades and clubs and diamonds, are pentacles, so they look like coins, pentacles, swords, fun pictures you can see already, and cups. Cups, there's a cup. And the other one is rods. There they are, rods. They look sticks, rods. And in that minor arcana section, which is like a deck of cards because it's in suits and it has kings and queens and aces, so it resembles a playing card deck. We think about a couple things. We keep it really simple in clairvoyance. We just make it real kindergarten, so that the reading is really about you giving the reading, not the deck, not the cards doing the reading. They're just helping us to know how to help and how to heal. So, for example, the cups and the pentacles. The pentacles. Let's see which I can hold up. The pentacles are all about wealth and materialism and money, and the cups are about abundance. And both are about abundance, but this is more materialism and this is more abundance and living. And again, I'm keeping it very simple. There's people that have written and studied books in depth and said when it's this, it means this. But the best part about clairvoyance is you don't have to memorize anything. That's the best thing, because you're really still just reading, but with the tarot cards out. And I've done thousands of tarot card readings that are very successful, so I haven't ever read a book on tarot cards. Now, these are the other two suits, and I put them together in just a simple thought. The rods, let's see which card. The rods are about commitments and projects and things that you've initiated and you care about. And sometimes they're old things that you don't want anymore, but you keep them around. And then the swords are more like obligations and karma, where it's followed you around from lifetimes. Okay, so those are the suits and the minor arcana. And the other part of the tarot deck, and remember, it's not complicated, just two parts of the deck. The minor arcana, which is like playing cards with four suits, with those little meanings: abundance, material wealth, commitments, and obligations. And then the other part of the deck is called the major arcana, which I call the journey, the soul's journey, which we're all on. And so it starts with the Fool card. And let me find my Fool card in my deck. I'm using the Rider Waite deck right now. So the Fool looks like this, and see how they're Roman numerals or numbers at the top, and they're not suits like playing cards. So there's a 0 at the top, the Fool. That's us when we're born. We're ready to have our journey, sometimes reluctant. The hero is always a reluctant hero. Like, gotta go on our journey. We're gonna step off a cliff. So when this comes up in a reading, this person is ready for a path, a journey. We'll see if they're reluctant or they're into it. And then we have other parts of the major arcana, and you can see they're numbered Roman numeral. And the sun is part of that. All these different cards with Roman numerals on top are the journey of the Fool. So the hero's journey, the hero or the Fool. And the moon is part of that. So you just have two parts of the deck, the Hermit, all of these, and then we even have the Devil. And this is why tarot cards are scary and they have a bad reputation, is because sometimes these cards are very scary. And what we think about is just change or influence in our life that has come up that we're overcoming or we need to be aware of. But it's not about omens or anything. We have fun ones like Lovers. And when the hero starts the journey, let's see here. The first place that the hero goes is the magician. So I always think of the wizard kind of luring the hero out to start the journey. Okay, so these are just simple ways to think about the tarot cards. There's two parts, the major arcana, which is the hero's journey, and they all have Roman numerals at the top. So it's something that the person you're reading, they're the hero, is encountering in their life, or a person in their life. And then the other cards are like playing cards, and they're in 4 suits. Okay, the rods, the swords, which are about obligations and commitments, and the cups, which is all about abundance, and the pentacles, which is about material wealth. And that's all it is for tarot. And next Thursday, I have a longer workshop where I'll explain it more and have handouts and all sorts of information. And that's next Thursday at 1 o'clock. I had requests for daytime workshops, so I'll be doing that. Let's see, I'll do an example of how I would use these cards in a very simple way to do a reading. Would anyone like to have a very simple reading? And I'll do an example. And then in my workshop, everyone will get a chance to have and give a mini reading. We'll do as many as we can in the workshop, so it'll be fun. Anybody interested in having their cards read today? Let's see if anybody comes up. I always like to be able to have someone solicit the message, divine message. And I'm using tarot cards to demonstrate how, as a healer, you can work with tarot cards. We can either pull one card and just address something, or we can pull more than one card, keeping it simple. The maximum cards I pull is 3. So I'll demonstrate. We don't want to complicate it, because the reading is really you, the healer, giving the reading, not the cards giving the reading. All right. And like I said, I've never read a book on tarot cards. I just use the cards. Thousands of tarot cards readings I've given, I use them to give an out of trance clairvoyant reading and healing. So that's how I use them. Okay, let's see here. Who would be? Let's see. Mindy, yes. Hello, Mindy. And Lisa, I see you too. And Tracy. Okay, so I'll do three, okay, for now. All right, Mindy. And I'm going to demonstrate this. So I'm going to pull 3 cards. If you were in my presence, I would have you spell out your name with the deck and get your energy on the cards. But I'm going to imagine that you're putting your energy on these cards for the sake of what we're doing. And I'm going to pull 3 cards out of the deck. And I do, and I'm laying them down. Oh, interesting. So here's how they came out. The first card came out as Justice. Okay, and this is your question. So Mindy, what question do you have right now? It's usually my next step is actually to have you ask a question. I skipped that step. Mindy, what would your question be? Let's see if I can find you here. Hey. Oh, hi, Jake. Thank you. Let's see, Mindy, what's your question today? There we go. Let's see. Hi, Shay. let's see, Mindy asking a question. With our Facebook Live, sometimes there's a delay with people typing. Um, and when we do tarot readings, it is important for the person that we're reading to have a question because then it focuses the reading and then it'll make sense. I just laid out some cards here. Oh, life purpose. Okay, yeah, that is a good tarot question. It's a big, broad one. So when we do tarot readings, usually they're only like 8 minutes long. I'm at a party and we have to do it quickly. So life purpose. I'm seeing this justice card came up as your question. That's represents your question. Um, and the way it's laid out is that this card was on the left, Page of Cups, and let's see if I can, I will hold them up to my camera and make the best of this. So let's see, justice is in the middle, putting it in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna hold these up. It's a weird phenomenon on the camera on this Facebook Live. Okay, Mindy, so justice is in the middle. You have what we call the middle is your question, present time, you the questioner asking the question. The most recent past is this Fool card, which is you the hero. And then I see here, this is your Page of Cups, which is cups that are abundant, so that's good. You've got two of the major arcana cards that come up for your question and what's pushing you into your question, which is your life purpose. I'm going to talk about each card separately here. This is what's affecting your question, and this is the Fool card. This is the one that has to do with you being the hero on your journey, taking a step on your journey. And it looks like that in your lifetime, Mindy, you've been very excited about being here. You're full of enthusiasm. You're always looking for what's new and what's next. So you've always had a lot of friends and people really kind of follow you and you lead the way. You're an innovative person. And then it looks like you get upset quite a bit. You have the Justice card here. So you're looking at what's fair, what's not fair, and then it seeps into your aura. And so you start to get caught up in what's fair and what's not fair. And when you say your life purpose, this gets you stuck a little bit, this what's fair and what's not fair. It looks like you're involved somehow in legal things. Maybe that's your job, or you have a loved one that's a legal person, but you're very caught up in the legal world of knowing about it. Maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you're married to a lawyer. So there's a lot of legal awareness here, and justice is a very powerful word about fairness. And then we have the Page of Cups, which is where you're going next. So as you go into moving past what's fair and what's not fair, I see you wanting to go into working on your own and finding some balance and some peace so that you can get some abundance for yourself. I love this Page of Cups card because it's like he's talking to a fish in the cup, and I see that as a lot of spiritual communication with your own guides, really listening to your inner voice. That little fish I always see is your inner voice, listening to what's true for you. It looks like the more you tune out the idea of justice and the legal system and fairness, and when people get caught up in that, it's a lower vibration. You can move beyond that and just start to be a teacher, a guide, a spiritual leader that you are, but free from this heaviness. And then we just kind of have these together. So you're continuing your journey, but you've lightened yourself up, and listening to your own inner voice and giving people a hello that way. Good, Mindy. I'm going to close that reading. Hey, Lauren. All right, and you can let me know if anything made sense and type it to me. I've got a little delay here. Let's see, who did I see next? Let's see, it's great to see you, Jake. Lisa, okay, Lisa Davis. All right, Lisa, can you ask a question? And with tarot, people will ask about love, life purpose, family, health. If you are somewhat specific, it helps with the tarot reading. because they're not long aura readings where we're together for a nice hour, where I pull the camera back to see all of you. It's addressing a question using the cards as a stimulus. So it helps to have a question. Let's see. Oh, good, Mindy. You're welcome. Um, Hi, Lauren. Happy Friday. Okay, Lisa says, what does life look like on the other side of this? Oh, yeah. I bet a lot of people want to know about that. Um, you know, even without pulling the cards first, I just want to address that idea on the other side of this quarantine of what is happening right now. I really see a bright outlook to our world. There's a lot of things that are reordering themselves and cleansing and clearing themselves from our systems, from our government and our societal systems, and even our humanity and nature. So there's a lot of things to be discovered after this, and also really that we're all getting wiser, and uh, just more awake, more aware. There may be like a separation in the groups of people, some not becoming wiser and getting into the dark from this, but we're here as healers, because I speak to healers in this Facebook Live. We're here to pull people into the light, always looking from a higher elevation, a big picture of where we're headed with this, what's the best possible outcome of this. And so let's see, Lisa, let's see we'll pull some cards and just see what images come up for your question, because I can see, Lisa, that you're quite a healer. You even have a big teacher symbol above your crown, so I can see you as a teacher. You have a lot of children in your space. Whether you birth them or not, you got a lot of kids around you, all wanting to know about what's next. And I'm just gonna let's see what comes up, because I'm glad you asked it and a lot of people want to see what comes up. So I'm just going to pull anywhere from the deck. Remember, we keep it really simple, kindergarten. There's nothing complicated, bunch of rules. Okay. Whew. Okay. I pulled one card already. Oh, wow. Wow, Lisa. This is interesting. This was the middle card. So when I talk about swords, remember there's just the four suits and the minor arcana, and the swords and the rods, and the pentacles and the cups. Now the swords represent obligations and karma, and really like a idea of being stuck. So look at this number 10 of swords here. This is always a gasp when it comes up, like, wow, look at all the obligations that have even stuck you. It looks like this has been going on for lifetimes. And if you are also, we're expanding it into our humanity right now and what's happening, since this is a global shift that's happening, humanity has been stuck for a while, and bleeding, not able to thrive. And it looks like, Lisa, because you're a healer and a guide for people, you've absorbed all of this difficulty. Not necessarily that your life has expressed this, but you're very sensitive and wanting to help others. And you've been feeling this very much. But we got all swords in these cards. The one to the left is the King of Swords. And the one to the right is the Seven of Swords. It's all swords right now. This is so interesting. Obligations and karma. And the King of Swords is somebody that just knows what all these obligations are and overcomes them, gets above them. That's how I see the King of Swords. And for you, Lisa, you've had that guidance for others about obligations and karmic pain and difficulty. So you've been helping people through this. So your question about life looking like on the other side, here's what the other side in this question looks like. It's still swords. It's interesting how this happens, right? We just have to laugh because spirit is part of the laying of the cards here. There's movement, there's removal of the cords, and then there's an escape, somebody escaping to get rid of these swords, these cords, these karmic, deep obligations and pain. So it looks like there's a removal and just a few left behind. So there's a movement. See, a healing is simply where something's stuck Look how stuck. And now it's no longer stuck, and there's movement. Things are coming up undone. It's a little uncomfortable. It's not super easy. And I'm tempted to pull one more card here, Lisa, just to see the next step after that. Wow. King of Wands. Remember, wands are related to swords, but they're more commitments and projects. And so that instead of this kind of life, we move into something like this, where we start to own our own projects, maybe even own our own wealth, own our own ideas, uh, really seeing the world move into a place of liberation. So we're running off, removing the swords, removing them uncomfortably, getting them out of the way, and moving into this. You asked a nice global question there, Lisa, because you're a big part of whatever's happening on the other side. Um, okay, and my assumption is that you meant the other side of this crisis, because that's what the question looked like to me. Um, okay, yes, good, good, Mindy, you're caught up in that. Um, and Yes, Lisa, so you did. Yes, and progress. You did have a broad world question. That's the kind of person you are, and that's awesome. Progress, yes. And Lauren, you were asking for a timeline of that. Well, I like that Lauren, hi Lauren, that you gave us a vision as healers to think about timelines, because really we can move timelines. We can actually, let's try to make this timeline shorter. Like the longest that this crisis is taking place is, let's just say, a month. I would like to say June at the longest, so that this summer we start to get back to normal, that everything starts to move, and then we move back into this place where we start to make our own decisions and create again. But we create from a place that's not obligation. We don't create from this, where we're beaten down, told what to do. Where does our money go? We want to have something um, very good. So I just want to let you know I have a workshop next Thursday at 1 o'clock. It's going to be about the tarot on my website, toriquisling.com. You can sign up, and we're going to be on Zoom so we can see each other. And you can bring your own deck of tarot cards, or work with mine through Zoom. And I will teach you more about it, and we'll do readings for each other. I'll demonstrate more readings. And generally, I really enjoy the tarot workshop because you realize that it's not complicated. As healers, we have access to it. And if there's something scary, like even this picture, we're able to create a healing communication about it, so that everything's always making progress, everything's moving forward, and we that's what we're here to do. So I'm going to hope that you sign up for the workshop, because I would love to see more of you and do more of these readings in the workshop. And that's going to be next Thursday at 1 o'clock. Usually my workshops are Tuesdays at 7, but this next workshop I'm going to do during the day as well. I'll keep them on Tuesday nights, but I'm adding one on next Thursday at 1 o'clock. So I hope to see all of you, and it's been great to see all of you on Facebook. All right, have a great weekend, and I'll hopefully see you soon.